The dew point kit will, of course, consist of the case, instructions, the transmitter, which is going to be universal. Like I said before, that the transmitter will recognize which probe is attached to it. It's also going to come with the toolkit with a number of plumbing items for just the dew point. It won't come with the manifold because that's not going to be used for gas. This actually has its own manifold. The dew point sensor without the manifold looks like this. And you can actually install this. This is a parallel thread, and it has a metal to rubber gasket on it that helps seal it against high pressure. So this is a very pressure tight system. You put this on, and then if you want to, you can screw this right into a pipe system and measure the dew point there directly. This dew point sensor is nice in that it offers two distinct features. One is that it's self-calibrating, is that when it finds a certain level of gas that's steady, it will actually go through a calibration procedure where it heats up the sensor and causes it to perform a calibration. The other thing is that it's immune to oil vapor. Most dew point sensors have an issue with oil vapor that once it gets onto the mirror or other device, it renders it ineffective. This is not the case in this application. The dew point sensor can go down to about -60°C at an air of plus or minus 2°C. So you can install the dew point directly, or you can add the manifold. Now the manifold is equipped with an inlet and an outlet to help you pass the gas through so you can get an accurate measurement. This is a regular air coupling, and with this little valve you can just release some of the air or gas that you're doing, such as nitrogen, air, helium, argon, or even SF6, and do the analysis in that fashion. So this goes on simply by screwing it onto the nut that's provided on the sensor and the gasket that's on it as well. So now we have a dew point system that's ready to go. Again, all we have to do is connect it directly to the sensor through the key and tighten it, and then we're just going to turn it on. It's going to automatically recognize that it's a dew point sensor. It's going to ask me for some environmental settings. I'm not going to change it right now, but dew point is sensitive to pressure. So if you're in a pressurized apparatus, you would have to enter in the pressure at which you're sampling of. If you're just passing air or another gas through the sampling cell, it's going to be ambient pressure. But if you're putting into a high pressure breaker, you're going to have to enter the pressure that's on the breaker into here, and it will automatically do the calibration for the correct dew point. So I'm going to say no to checking the settings, and right now it's giving me a temperature. It's measuring the temperature plus the dew point, and the dew point in this room is about 4.7°C. So that's basically how it works. As you can see, it's really rather quite simple. Our last option is what we call the complete USS, and that involves a complete package here. As you can see, we left room in the case for all the probes that would go with the complete package. We have our dew point sensor, of course. We have our oil sensor. We have one of them. And we have the other. So what we're getting is we now have the ability to do a whole lot of testing. We have two oil probes that can measure both the inlet and the outlet of, say, an oil processing application. And we have a dew point sensor, which can help us measure like the vacuum line for an oil processor, or the dew point in a transformer, or the dew point of, say, dry air or dry nitrogen that you're using for inside the transformer, say, while you're dressing it. It can also be used on tanks and bottles of compressed gas as well. So as you can see, this USS has the ability to actually install 2 probes at once using these ports. So let's just show you that function here. We're going to connect up one probe, and like I said, it doesn't really matter which one it goes into, because the sensor, the indicator, will automatically indicate which probe is which. So now we're going to turn it on, and you're going to see RS1 and RS2. 1 and 2 represent the port, that is what these sensors are connected to. And if you look at the back, it says port 1, port 2, so that you know. Now right now, we're measuring relative saturation. We're measuring probe 1, probe 2. It's also telling us the difference. We can do anything, however. We can measure temperature, we can measure ppm, we can measure the difference between the two. It doesn't really matter. We can have up to 3 items that are being measured on this screen. So let's say we want to change it to ppm, because most people will be using that to measure how well an oil process is being performed. So I'm going to go to menu like we did before, and then the first item is display. We're going to click on display. It's going to say quantities and units. We're going to click on that, and everything that's checked right now is what's being displayed. Before we can check anything else, we have to uncheck what we have. So we're going to say, on this one, we're going to say hide. We're going to go down here and check water on, relative saturation off, water on, and then we're going to click, we'll just click temperature for now. And then when we exit, you can see that now it's in ppm with a temperature as well. And of course, all these things can be graphed at the same time. What's nice about the graphing function is that when you put the sensor into a valve and you're trying to monitor when finally you brought out all the water from the valve, you'll start to get a stable baseline. Not just by watching the numbers, but the graphical display helps you analyze when the process is complete. Besides the features that we've shown here today, there's a number of additional features in the manual, such as there's actually an audible alarm, which can indicate that process has been finished or complete, or that you've reached a certain level. So let's just recap for a minute. Doble offers 3 basic systems at this point, and each one is expandable. You don't have to order the whole thing at once. You can order one kit and then build on it as your needs grow. The first kit is the Moisture and Oil USS, which consists of the transmitter, the probe, the sampling manifold, the AC adapter, the toolbox, and the case. The second kit is the dew point kit, which consists of the case, the toolbox, the dew point sensor, the indicator, and the AC adapter. The last kit, which we call the complete kit, consists of everything that we have here, but it also has 2 oil probes and 1 dew point probe, and really enables you to do a wide variety of testing. We hope that you like what you see here, and we know that it will benefit you in your field testing needs. If you have any questions at all, please email me at domino@doble.com. Thanks, and have a great day.